What is the longest you've gone without knowing a person's name? My next-door neighbor introduced himself when he moved in. I promptly forgot his name. He was from a French-speaking part of Canada, so when I talking with my wife, he was French guy next door. 5 years after our first meeting, he admits in a conversation that he'd forgotten my name. We have a good laugh and reintroduce ourselves. His name was Guy. I had it right the whole time. He was French guy next door. So, who lives next door? Guy. Yeah, but what's his name? Guy. I moved into my condo in 2011 and I introduced myself to my one neighbor next door to me but instantly forgot his name. We would see each other in passing for years and I would always just say hi and a casual conversation. I met my wife in 2018 from a long-distance relationship, and when she finally moved in with me there was the awkward moment when I had to introduce her to him. I said, "This is my fiancée Alice and we're getting married next month." He said, "Congratulations and nice to meet you," then walked away. She asked me what his name was and I said I have no clue. Later that day she said his name is Brad and I was like, "Oh, he looks like a Brad," and she said he had no clue what my name was either, so no big deal. The fact that neither of you knew each other's names for that long and neither of you got caught is just hilarious. Whenever people admit they forgot me name I get excited because nobody forgets it. Unique name, and I'm awful at names so it takes a lot of pressure off. No better way to bond with me than to forget my name, makes me feel less like a failure. In college there was one person I'd see occasionally, but I could not remember her name or how we'd met. Eventually I told her that, and she told me that she also didn't remember my name or how we met. Telling this story to his grandkids, Brad was the best friend I ever had. We still never talk sometimes. I had a neighbor, too. She introduced herself, and told me her name. I instantly forgot. She was Hawaiian, so it was probably pretty, and unique. She lived next door for about 10 years. She always referred to me by name, including the time we were running into each other at the grocery store. I still wonder what her name was. My name is apparently Darren to this nice couple who own a restaurant in my town. My name is not Darren, I've known them for 2 years. We're even Facebook friends, they can literally see and read my name, but it's cool. I always wanted to try being a Darren. I like this reply the best, Darren. If they are from a different country or something, maybe Darren is a bad word in their language and they have been insulting you with a smile this whole time. Or it's a joke between them. Like they are seeing how long they can go without you correcting them. My name is Who in Japanese, which results in a lot of who are you, I am who, yeah you, yeah me, who. I've been on the receiving end of this. My nickname in college was the Mayor and I had people I had known for years coming up to me at my graduation saying I had no idea your name was actually Dan. Haha, how do you end up with a nickname like Mayor? Let me see if I can get my old roommate to answer that. At Mandogdr, answer, please. Very few people did know your actual name. The nickname came from me being very drunk and random people that lived in your dorm coming into your room and saying hi. I was so confused because people never did that in my dorm, they're randomly walking in parked. So I said, wow, everyone knows you, you're like the mayor around here. In my school were twins. A whole school year I knew their names, I just didn't know which twin had which name. I have 2 cousins named Matthew and Martin. They are not twins and don't look anything like each other, but I have no idea which one is which. Well, that's easy to fix at least. Just call one of them one name, and if you're wrong just say that you messed up and meant to say the other name. I went to school with identical twins who had the same first name, and one year they only put one of them in yearbook. I was friends with one of them and asked if it was him or his brother in the picture and he had no idea. This is so annoying. I used to work with identical twins who had similar names, Flavio and Flavio. I've lived in my townhouse for almost 5 years now, and I don't know the name of the guy who lives directly across from me. I have pretty regular interactions with most of my neighbors, but I've never talked with this one guy beyond just exchanging pleasantries while passing each other. When I moved in and first met him, I immediately forgot his name. I was almost positive he said it was Mike, so I went about 4 years just assuming that was probably his name, but not quite confident enough to actually call him Mike. Then a few months ago I was talking to some other neighbors in the parking lot when he walked by, and my other neighbors called out, "Hey, name that is not Mike." So it was confirmed that this guy's name is not, in fact, Mike, and I was relieved I hadn't been calling him that for the past 5 years, but I immediately forgot again what his name actually is, so now all I know is that it is something other than Mike. Maybe I'll learn his name by the time I've lived here 10 years. Why don't you get someone to break your arm? Then you can get it plastered up and ask him to sign your cast. I had a similar situation with my next door neighbor. He always called me by my name but I just could not remember his. One day I ran into him at a music festival, and after that every time I saw him he would stop and have a chat about our favorite bands etc. So I felt even worse that I couldn't remember his name. I knew his favorite band but not his name. After 4 years of this I met my husband-to-be, and made him introduce himself to my neighbor just so I could find out his name. The mission was a success, for about 3 weeks anyway, then I promptly forgot his name again. I don't know why it just wouldn't stick in my head. I was pretty relieved when we moved and our new neighbors had names easy to remember. My cousin gave birth to a baby girl like a year ago and I still don't know her name. Maybe you can wait a few years until she's 4 or 5 and ask if she can spell her name. She'd be excited to do it for you. Gonna be trouble if she spells it completely wrong. It will be interesting, that's for sure. Me, hey, can you spell your name? Child, Lisa. Me, oh, Lisa, well done, later. Me, hey, I think Lisa peed her pants. Cousin, what? That's my name. Once I had to do a project with a guy who I didn't know the name of, so I asked him how to spell his name. It was Sam. I asked how to fucking spell Sam. Most likely over a decade. I'm in the UK and I've got to know many a bar acquaintance down my local pub. Over time you get to know about their work, hobbies, likes and dislikes. You get to know how many kids they have, how many times they have been married etc. Then a friend from out of town visits you. And as you do in the UK, you go to the pub. Your pub acquaintance is there and you introduce your friend from out of town only to realize you know everything about your pub acquaintance, everything except his name. A whole date. Someone fixed us up but my dude never told me her name, just the address she wanted me to pick her up. I didn't have guts to ask her name during the date. Edit. She became my girlfriend after that date and we laughed about it forever. Once made it 4 to 5 dates including staying at her place twice. I just had her saved in my phone as Cutie, Barracks and then avoided saying her name. Finally, the second time at her place, she went to the bathroom, and I sneaked a peek at her stack of mail to find her name. Work in a pharmacy. A young woman, say late teens early 20s, came up and asked to pick up her grandmother's prescription. I said no problem. What's her name? She looked at me with a blank face, asked me to hold on and called her family. This is hilarious. I didn't know my grandfather's actual name until I was 15. It was my name. I was named after him and didn't realize it. I'm a waiter. There are lots of customers who are regulars and I've known them for years, some of them close to a decade. Very few of them I know their names. Some of them get nicknames amongst the staff. Some favorites are, Twix Man. He would always leave a Twix chocolate bar with the tip. Emma and Stacy, 2 sisters who used to come in a lot. I know their names but not which one is which. The Vegans, a young couple who were vegan but really cool. My parents. 5 years at least. Same, I thought their names were Mummy and Daddy, until I realized other children were calling their parents the same names, Mummy and Daddy. And so I went to ask my parents what their real names were. Dog park people. We see each other and talk almost every day but they're always, dog's name, Mum, or Dad. I'm sure at some point their name come up, but I just keep forgetting. My dog's groomer does this too. I walk in and she yells, "My dog's name's Mom is here." Makes sense, she spends way more time with him than she does with me. I work at a record store. There's a guy who's been coming in weekly for the entire 11 years I've worked there. We just call him Sweaty Polish Guy. 10 years, the people from my office but from different division. They seem to know me and often call me out when I passed by, but I don't know their names and at this point it seems awkward to ask them. How long did you not confess that you forgot the name of your interlocutor? Leave a comment. And subscribe to this channel if you wanna see more same videos.